Hello everyone and welcome to the webinar. My name is Michael Nash. I'm the Deputy Editor of Car Design News, and today I'm delighted to be joined by a team of experts from Autodesk who are going to be talking about collaboration and problem solving in the design field while working remotely. At the end of the presentation, we will have our usual Q&A session. So if you've got any questions for the speakers, please write them in the Q&A box at the right-hand side of your screen. If I don't ask you a question, don't worry. We'll work with Autodesk to get them answered after the webinar. Also, if you have any technical issues, you can write them in that Q&A box and our team will try and help. So one last point for me before we get started. A recording of the live stream will be available online afterwards for any of your colleagues that couldn't be here now. So please just pass on a link if you think they'll be interested. So I'm delighted to introduce Phil Botley, who is Alias Project Manager at Autodesk. Over to you, Phil.
Great, thanks, Mike. Can you hear me, Mike? Okay, is the microphone working?
Yep, sounds good.
Oh, wonderful. Okay. Well, good afternoon, good morning, good evening, everyone. Welcome to, as Mike said, a little gallop through design collaboration in the age of remote working with Autodesk tools. My name is Phil Botley. I'm product manager for Alias, and I'll introduce you to my colleagues in a moment. I'll just make sure the slide works. Just a safe harbor statement. One or two of these slides point to some of the development work we're working on. We're a software company. Sometimes things chop and change a little bit, so just bear that in mind when we're looking at one or two of these slides in the next 45 minutes of presentation. There are three of us on this call today. As I said, myself, Phil Botley, product manager for Alias, Brandon Tasker, based in Toronto, Shotgun product manager, and Lucas, the Fred product manager, based in Germany. So we'll have a really good mixture of tools. Brandon will go first, followed by Lucas, and then I kind of follow up with a small portion on Alias. And really, what we're going to look at today is as I've said, a whole host of problems and some solutions that we have. And we're going to look at how our customers are using these tools to allow them to continue to work and design remotely, and how they collaborate sort of remotely also, which is really obviously very important. We'll see from Lucas how with Red we can create high fidelity VR experiences for remote design reviews, how we can take a Red scene and deploy it as a single executable, but also stream Red. Just stream those really cool movies that we see, images, onto any device. We'll look at cloud collaboration. Not many people know that we have it as standard in all our products. So we can share data, work on data, upload, change, collaborate across all our portfolio. Then we'll have a look at what we're doing there. We'll also look at some new tools in Alias, which allow us to really kind of go beyond the tool and go into connecting, really connecting teams together to allow distributed working across geographies, cross products as well, from the CAD, Class A, and engineering, and really have a master assembly concept. For those of you familiar with other products, essentially a dot product setup inside Alias, and feed in parts, STL, FBX data into that and manage it kind of in a very efficient way. And then a Shotgun, which might be a new product to some of you, which Brandon will talk about first, really how we can accelerate our workflows by managing design teams in an efficient and intuitive way. But critically, it allows customers to really move between remote and on-premise configurations of workflows, projects, and other day-to-day activities very quickly, very seamlessly, as we found our M&E customers managed to do in this time of remote working. It also fosters team collaboration and brings teams closer together and works more efficiently. And all these tools and capabilities are part of what we call our Agile Studio initiative. And this is really centered around designing, visualizing, and collaborating with our three core products, Alias, Vred, and Shotgun. And our overarching mission of what we're doing in the studio is really to strengthen the core, strengthen what we do from a surfacing perspective, from a visualization perspective, but also from a data management perspective. How can we connect those products together, make them work seamlessly? How can we automate procedural tasks, very laborious tasks such as data prep and such as perhaps surfacing? If we begin to automate those components, could it make our lives easier? And there are tools like Shotgun which will allow us to save multiple files typed simultaneously, and of course expanding workflows. How can we actually go beyond what is our core area of design, surfacing and visualization, go into new sectors, but also expand our tools into different approaches, different workflows, whether it be virtual reality, augmented reality, XR, and those type of tools. So Shotgun is really about connecting people, tools and workflows with a very simple premise of simplifying, managing, data handling, accelerating workflows, so we can all work on the same data at the same time, know where we are on projects, and have ready access to any data in any format at any time immediately, so we don't need to have to save or worry about saving. This does it for us in the background. Red, that we know, is all about now high-end visualization out of the box, rendering experiences. How can we just press a button and be transported to a fully immersive virtual world? How can we streamline and automate our data prep? The days of spending hours, days collating the data, preparing the data, getting everything sorted, they're disappearing. With some of the tools we have in Fred already, we have immediate updates of our data wherever it is, in different geographies. Sorry, I was getting carried away with science fiction then, or even different companies. As we move to the next stage, we'll begin to automate that preparation with aspects of machine learning, so we can predict what's needed and what's required. And of course, we're developing new workflows and new personas, design management reviews by streaming directly onto an iPad, very simple interfaces, very simple interaction from HTML. And then we have my tool, the end-to-end design pipeline with Alias. And we're really focusing here on core innovation and performance. How can we actually begin to make Alias faster, multi-threaded, and GPU? How can we enhance the innovation, such as curve and surface replace workflows, feature libraries, aspects of design collaboration, working together as teams, and of course, beginning to bake in machine learning and artificial intelligence into the software. Projects such as real-time CFD, design language, and also automatic surfacing. And this really gives us a complete solution from concept design to technical surfacing. And this is what we call our Agile Design Studio. Alias, Red, Shotgun, working together to design, visualize, and collaborate seamlessly, taking the pain away and critically giving us more time to design, to refine and surface, either on-premise or, as we have discovered in the past 3 months, remotely. And without further ado, I'll hand over to Brandon, who will take us on a Shotgun journey. Over to you, Brandon.
Thanks, Phil. All right, I think everybody should be able to see me now. Phil, can you see my screen? Or the correct screen? You see my presentation?
Yep, I can see your screen. Great.
Perfect. All right, thanks for the introduction, Phil. That was great. I think you summarized everything. I don't even need to start, so no. So everybody, my name is Brandon. I am a product manager on Shotgun, as Phil introduced me. I'm located in Toronto, Canada, and I am here to talk to you today about Shotgun. So let's begin. So how this is going to go is I'll just give you a quick overview of Shotgun. To what Phil said, many of you in the audience may be new to it and maybe you've never heard of it, or maybe you've seen what I've talked about a million times. Either way, I think this will be useful just to talk about how Shotgun can be used in the world of remote work. And once we talk about that, then I'll just give you a little guide on how you can get started using Shotgun today and begin using it to solve some of the biggest problems, especially type of problems working from home. So just a quick background on me too. So I've been working for Autodesk for almost 4 years now. We've been taking Shotgun to automotive customers for about that long. But my history is in animation and visual effects. I'm a classically trained animator. I've worked in television, feature film, short film as well. And I come to the automotive industry with a lot of CG knowledge and real experience using Shotgun on everyday workflows. So I know all of its strengths and all of its weaknesses, and I really am hoping to guide you guys and show you how valuable it can be to everyday workflows. So let's give you a quick overview. So the history of Shotgun really came out of production. There was a studio working on a Disney film called The Wild, and the head of kind of production and technology were looking at ways to solve their major challenges. Challenges they've seen in every studio they worked at around the world, which is how do we track the abundant amount of shots, the different assets that go in those shots, all the designs created to build those assets, and then every single task, all of the things that people have to do every day to actually make this movie and get this movie done on time. So during that production, a team worked together and then spun this off into the product that is now Shotgun, which was first released in 2009. So it's been created and used now for more than 10 years, really trying to be the single source of truth in an extremely fast-paced, extremely creative, and extremely technical studio environment. So with that, Shotgun today is being used on some of the biggest projects in the world, creative projects that many of you are probably familiar with on this slide here. And if you want to see more of these types of things on our M&E focused site, which is the Autodesk area, you can see an example here from Double Negative. Working on a big project like Thor, you're going to have multiple people in multiple studios around the world that are working on different shots that are using the same assets, the same parts, and they need to be able to produce this content together. So you can see the quote here and saying it would just have been impossible without a tool like Shotgun. So with all that said, thousands of companies already rely on Shotgun every year to create some of the biggest film, television, games projects that, again, you guys are probably all using, watching, playing with. And there's lots of customers that use Shotgun that are not film, television, or games. We have arc visualization, industrial design, marketing teams. Shotgun's really powerful to manage creative projects, whatever they are. And we also have a bunch of automotive customers in the last couple of years. So we have about a dozen around the world that are working with Shotgun in some sense or another. Some are using it in production and some are just beginning their journey. But I'm hoping today I can show you a little bit more about what that is going to look like. And so Phil showed a quick slide on this, but to go in a bit deeper, what is Shotgun actually? So it is a project management, production management tool that helps integrate all of these three things. So it gives you the aspect of production management, creative collaboration, and then integration with all of your workflows on a daily basis. So what that looks like from a more hands-on perspective, production management. It's about tracking the projects, the status, all the work that's being done. Creative collaboration is about capturing reviews, all the feedback that's being put into those reviews and creating it and keeping it inside of Shotgun in a single source of truth. So you always know when decisions were made, what notes I need to address next, and everything has a nice clean history. And finally, what I think is most important is making all of those first two things happen automatically by directly connecting to the products you use every day. So I'll talk a little bit about all of the more integrated products we have with Shotgun, but being able to work on files, have them directly associated with a task that you're working on, with a project that you're working towards, and a schedule and a deadline is really key to allowing design teams, creative departments to focus on what's important, which is creating the final design and making it the best as possible instead of updating spreadsheets and filling out charts to make sure things are on track. So with that kind of summary and overview about what Shotgun is, I'll start to explain a little bit more how Shotgun can be used for remote work. And so when Phil told me about this type of webinar, I was like, this is perfect, because Shotgun almost from day one was built to enhance collaboration within a studio, but also with the addition to putting Shotgun on the cloud many, many years ago, it's readily enabled for remote work at any time. So it can really help in all facets of creative remote working. So as I mentioned, the Shotgun application is this kind of production management platform, and it's really, a web application based around a database of all the storage of metadata and information that you need to track. Our first offering is really the cloud offering. So you can go up to shotgunsoftware.com/signup and sign up for a cloud site today. This is the full product. You have access to use everything in there that you would need to use. And we host the Shotgun server and all of the redundant components for you to make sure that you can access all of your production tracking assets at any time. Now, in automotive, and for some of our biggest, maybe most secure and most technology challenging customers, we also offer this web application on premise. So that means that we can hand over those web stack applications in the form of containers, and our customers deploy them on our own servers. Now that's definitely an overhead for a lot of customers, but if you're taking on that level of responsibility, it means you probably have the team to do it. So regardless of whether it's on the cloud or on-prem, the solution is the same, and teams can still access it the same. And we have Shotgun customers in automotive right now. They're accessing their on-prem solutions through VPN while working at home. So don't let that scare you. And really the three main access points for users into Shotgun, first of all, is going to be the web interface. Then there's some desktop specific tools. And most importantly, not most importantly, but I always love the technical side. So the API, which is extremely robust and allows you to do a ton of cool stuff. And again, what that looks like is for the web interface, this is for really kind of project managers, project leads, people that manage the schedules or executive stakeholders that need access to the overall project status and the business plans. This is all accessible right through the browser. Chrome, Firefox, whatever you like to use, you can view Shotgun through that and access all of its information. Creative users will usually use the desktop tools, which we have ways to review, launch all your applications with their integrations, and launch custom tools if so choose to build those. And this directly connects Shotgun to your desktop, which means you can manage all your working files on a daily basis. And finally, the API. So we have a really robust Python and REST API that allows you to really update and control almost all aspects of Shotgun, to update data, pull down data, and use it for whatever you need to do. And also connect it to other systems, custom tools you may have, or other important tools and systems that you have inside of your studio. And this is usually done by technical people, software developers, technical directors, even some of our visualization experts are very skilled in things like Python. So they can take real good advantage of Shotgun's API. And so how this is generally used from a user workflow is that, again, they'll access Shotgun from their computer through a browser or through an integrated application like Alias or VRED. They'll be able to save and manage their daily work while linking that to Shotgun. And the whole point of this slide here is to tell you that Shotgun doesn't save your files inside of it itself. It creates links to those files. So while you're on-prem or whether you work in the cloud, you can use a normal file system allocated to you by your IT department, or you can use cloud storage tools that already exist, things like OneDrive, SharePoint, Dropbox, Google Drive, whatever is your preference, you can use those as well, really to connect the file aspect to Shotgun. So just a good note, Shotgun doesn't store your sensitive data. That can still live on premise inside a very secure firewall if you're a big OEM. All right, so back onto these three things: production management, creative collaboration, integrated workflows. Let's start showing you what some of this stuff actually looks like. So production management, I mentioned managing projects. So you can create your projects in Shotgun, and then you want to create all the things that you're going to build. So if you're going to create a project, you want to build different concepts, themes, and parts. And all those parts need to have a task which says, okay, what are we going to build? You can start with an Excel spreadsheet and import them into Shotgun, or you can build all this stuff automatically in the Shotgun interface. With all of these schedules filled up, you can assign people, you can link dependencies between all these tasks. making them dependent on each other to get complete. You can assign reviewers or people that are actually going to do the work, which makes it really clear of who's responsible for what and when things are due. And there's so many great filtering ways in Shotgun that allow you to filter down by department, by user, by type of task, by what part they're working on. There's so many different ways to allow you to really easily manipulate that data. And then once teams start working on this, there's a whole slew of reporting tools that can show you the work that's actually being done and how statuses and work changes over time, and it helps you see how close you are to finishing the project, or maybe not finishing the project if that's what you're interested in. And then when we get into creative collaboration, this is a lot about review and approval. And my hope with Shotgun is to help you iterate more often, quicker, and do it in more an organized way, which means you can get out more iterations and see more at the end product. So here's a simple way to do a review inside of Alias with the Shotgun integration. You can use the Alias paint tools, draw over different aspects, and take quick notes into Shotgun right from your Alias session. This means if you're working on your desktop and you want to review one of your modeler's latest surfaces, you can jump in there, you can do the reviews and get them all of these notes that will be directly sent to that modeler, and essentially a checklist. They can go through, address all the notes, and then make sure they're done for the next review. Beyond the desktop integration, there's always the web integrations, the web review parts as well, which allows you to review 2D, 3D images, videos, all that stuff in the web browser. And again, just like you did on your desktop, you can do that here. You can add all your notes into Shotgun. Again, all of these are going to be captured against the file that created it, against the asset and project that you're working on, so you always know when notes were made and when to finish them for. And again, we can do the same thing on the desktop. There's so many different ways to review, and it's all the same workflow. You're generating these notes inside of Shotgun that can be addressed at a later time. And finally, we even have a cool functionality called the client review site, which for our M&E customers, media and entertainment, usually goes from a vendor to a main customer. This really works great for automotives to do an executive review. Maybe you don't want every executive to see all of the facets of what your project's doing inside of Shotgun. You don't want to see the in-progress stuff. You don't want to see things that are falling behind. You can curate a playlist of just key design iterations that you want to share, send them out to this through this link, and your executive can review it at any time through a simple email. And then finally, talking about the integrated workflows. So I mentioned Alias and Red integrate with Shotgun out of the box. We also have a bunch of other integrations, Autodesk tools and non-Autodesk tools. And we have community integrations that are constantly being built by just Shotgun users, people that are building these integrations to help out others. And we can share those links if anybody's interested. But yeah, the integrations are a really crucial part to making all of this stuff happen automatically. So with an integration, I can open Alias. I can really easily find my task that I'm working on, open a file, and save that file. I don't need to worry where I save it. Shotgun's managing all this for me. And then I can publish it. And publishing is really allowing me to hand it off to another department when it's ready or get an important review done. And you can add a bunch of automations to this publish process as well to really enforce and add a really solid process to your everyday workflows. So we published an Alias model. A Red user can go in, they can find that through the Shotgun tools, can easily load it into their scene and start working. If the Alias modeler changes that file for any reason, it changes surfaces, the Red user can easily update to the latest model whenever they need to. And so these are just some details about how important it can be to integrate all of your workflows into Shotgun, because it makes this process happen automatically. And again, to what Phil said, which is we want to help creatives, artists, designers be more creative and stay in that zone. We don't want you to have to do all this extra overhead about updating statuses on an Excel sheet or filling out Word documents or PowerPoints. Keep it automated, make sure it's part of the process that nobody can miss it, and free up designers' time to focus on what's important. All right, so those are all different ways, and all of these tools can be leveraged working remotely or working internally at a studio. Shotgun being a cloud application, you can spin up that cloud site right away, and you can start managing your projects and workloads. You can start reviewing from anywhere you are in the world as long as you have internet access if you're using the cloud, or else you may need a VPN if you're trying to access your OEM's data center. And also integrating with your products. So this means that you can have a seamless review workflow, seamless working everyday publish process workflow that makes sure all the standards are met, make sure you're following directions, but also make it really easy for designers and creatives to get their work into the system and have it tracked to make sure that the whole projects are being well organized from the very start. All right. So using Shotgun, we've seen a lot of our customers ask for things like this. So they want to improve their design quality. They want to accelerate their design cycles, do more iterations. They want to reduce errors as well and align studio goals to make sure everybody's on the same page at the same time. And also standardizing workflows to make sure everybody's kind of working in the same way. You can innovate and add automation on top of that once you standardize those workflows a bit more. So there's a lot of benefits that our customers get from using Shotgun, and these are some of the things that they're really looking for and that we know that Shotgun can help with today. And so again, if you want to get started, we have a bunch of documentation about how you can use Shotgun in the automotive design studio itself. You can sign up for a cloud trial today, and it's, again, the full product, shotgunsoftware.com/signup. You can have an automotive project template, which when you start up your project will give you the naming conventions and just general page setup that an automotive project would use. And if you work in the automotive studio, but you're more in the marketing phase and you use things like shots and assets already, there's tons of content from all the 10 years of animation and visual effects workflows that already exist around shot workflows that can be super valuable to you as well. When it comes to the design studio, we've launched a Getting Started series as well, and we have Autodesk starter packs. So look for us on Shotgun Support on the website, the support portal, and also look for us on YouTube, on the Shotgun YouTube channel. You can see some updates and videos from myself, just taking you through the workflow about how that would actually look like. So yeah, and I think kind of to end it off, just some quick tips. So start small. Don't make it too complicated. Start with a simple project, a simple task. Hey, like you want to improve how your review cycle works. Just try Shotgun with that first before trying to do everything all at once. People usually can get overwhelmed by trying to change everything, so really start small. You don't have to change your process, but it will require you to map it out. And by doing that, also, it's important to align stakeholders. Make sure IT knows if you go and set up a Shotgun cloud site that you're putting design data there. And also make sure design and IT are on the same pages. Make sure that everybody's happy about what you're doing. And if you're excited about this, be the champion, lead the studio. The best success we have is always somebody leading into new technology and new changes, and it can really change the way a studio works and the output of that studio, how high quality the designs are, how they get their work done, and the overall just stress level and ease of working they come to every single day. And finally, ask us for help. If you want to reach out to anybody at Autodesk, you can find us on our community web pages. Shotgun has its own community web page. Find us there, and yeah, ask for help. So that's it for me. Hopefully that was informative, and now I'm going to hand it over to Lucas. So thanks everybody for listening.
Great, thanks, Brandon.
Okay. Can you guys see my screen?
Yep, can see it, Lucas. Looking good, thank you.
Cool. Okay, yeah, hello everybody. As Phil already introduced me, my name is Lucas. I'm Fred Product Manager, and today we're going to talk about the collaboration aspects, or some of the collaboration aspects of Fred. With Fred being a decision-making tool, and decision-making naturally is a collaborative process, at least hopefully. Yeah, there's a lot of collaboration aspects in Fred, and I just wanted to pick some for today as we're talking about remote collaboration. But just to give a quick introduction, you could collaborate within a department, We're going to talk about that with the team, for example, between Alias and Fred users, or working on the same project simultaneously, sharing data, trying to keep everything in sync. But also very important between stakeholders. So a design intent, for example, is communicated properly with a underlying visual communication. And also stakeholders or different people involved in the project tend to have different requirements in terms of how they want to consume data or contribute or join a collaborative session. And we do have local collaboration, which is a bit of out of scope for today, because we're talking about local, a remote collaboration, and global collaboration, which is one of the core topics of today, especially if you have teams that are spread over the world on different continents. That's something that our customers face a lot. But also, if you are a design manager and you have to oversee this diverse group of people. And then interdisciplinary collaboration, like, for example, between HMI designers and the real interior design, for example, or general car design, but also between engineering and design. One example here would be light design. Okay, so starting with project collaboration, we introduced Fred references in Fred last year. It's a very known concept for other tools. It is new to Fred. What it allows you basically is to split up your visualization files, but also keep the link to the source file. And we're going to see that in a second. The collaborative aspect is you can work simultaneously. So if you split this up, and this is a very basic example with this car, but you could split it up into different areas, whatever fits to your design workflow, interior, exterior, engineering parts, wheels, whatever. And people can work on it simultaneously, create the visualization files, and then you can monitor the progress and finally create a reviewable master file. And all of that is automated, so there's no manual work needed anymore. And also something to pick out, to point out, this whole reference and assembly concept in Fred works in our cloud features that Phil is going to talk about as well. So it's not local only, it works on the cloud as well. Yeah, so just a quick video to show how that works. Most of you might be familiar with the concept and maybe also how it works in Fred already. You're creating those reference files, or create the reference project, tell the software where to store, and then somebody can go in this example, change the wheels. You go into the master file, just update the wheel, and then surprise, the new wheel is coming in. So this is the update mechanism for visualization files, but also the source update mechanism is shown in this video. So in this case, there are some inventor changes done, and then you can, same process, you will you get a notification that it's out of date, and then you can just update it. And as I said, eventually it will automatically combine to a full master file that you can review and communicate. One thing that's quite interesting, I think, which is a special type of collaboration between different departments or maybe different groups within the same department, but in this case, it's about human-machine interface. So between the design of the content of the displays and interactive elements in the car and the design of the interior in this case. Yeah, so our goal was to connect the departments as early as possible in the process, because as we know, the sooner the problems are solved or identified, the better it is, and the less problems will be caused downstream in the process, and less cost produced to change it as well. Something very interesting here is if you can review like a very interactive, holistic digital prototype. So let's assume we have the digital prototype visualization file in Fred with the full interior and the HMI content. You can combine that and then go into virtual reality or on desktop, but virtual reality is more intuitive in this case, and use our hands to interact with the design elements. So what you basically can do is preview the final customer experience in the digital prototype, and also evaluate the HMI content in context of the digital prototype, which is very important, I guess, because of the complexity those HMI systems are getting. So technically, we have an open approach to that. So it's not one tool that we're supporting, but we're trying to keep an open interface for HMI tools in general, but also for the standard of HTML5. In this case, we'll take a quick look at how the Qt or Qt plugin works for Fred. So both tools are running side by side. You have the HMI content created in Qt, and it's live linked via WebGL stream. And then you can basically interact with the displays in Fred as if you were clicking on them in the original software, in this case Qt Design Studio or 3D Studio. And the communication goes back and forth in this case, so it's an interactive bidirectional communication process. This can get quite complicated. So as you can see, I just want to point out one example here, although this slide might look a bit complicated, but it's not just displays, right? Interaction with the car happens on different levels. There's buttons in the car, maybe less in the future, more displays, but there will be both. And that's why we also allow to connect both. So for example, you can trigger one event from an HMI that causes a change in the data set or in the geometry or the Fred scene, but also the other way around. So let's take an example here. You could, for example, use the HMI content in a Fred file in virtual reality to change the ambient lighting, which is in the foot area of your car, for example, or at the side of the doors. So that works. So you can manipulate the scene from the HMI content, but you can also turn this around. For example, press a button like a geometry button in Fred that changes something on the HMI. Or for example, open the door and play a welcome animation on the displays of the car. And we got a very great example for that from Porsche, which was, I think, 2 years ago on AU. So it's quite a while they're using this already for their cars, with a very nice workflow, and that's why I'm pointing it out here. Also, just to emphasize on that, there's a 1 hour webinar on Autodesk University page that you can go to and just take a look at the details, because I just picked some of the slides here. But as you can see, they have one central, or there's different web pages for the different displays, but they are connected to one central server. And if you change something on one display, another display content will be affected as well, and will be adapted towards that. Yeah, and as I said, it's very, like, the base concept is very easy. You have this server, local or server, and you put it into our web editor, assign it to a material, and then assign the material to a surface in Fred or geometry in Fred, and basically to the display geometry, and then you just gotta, either you did it already or you map it via UVs or via mapping projection in Fred and to the right place, and you will have a interactable, fully usable display. So as I said, if you're interested in more information about HMI with Fred, I would really encourage you to go to the Autodesk University page and take a look at this great webinar from Pascal, our technical product manager, and Porsche in 2018, I think. Fredco, something that Phil teased already in his intro. We released with Fred 2021, so the new major release. We released something that's called Fredco, which is basically a way to export a scene into an executable that runs without a license. Yeah, and this executable can run in virtual reality or on desktop. So you can export it either way. And as you can see in the video, you can also add overlay menus to it. So it's taken exactly the state of the scene of Fred, and then you export it into that, let's say, one-off viewable executable. And as you can see, this is how the final product will look, or the final export will look. The cool thing, and why am I mentioning that in terms of collaboration? Because the cool thing here is, first of all, it doesn't have the complexity of Fred, right? So it's helping for stakeholder collaboration if people are not used to the interface of Fred with all the buttons and everything. Also, when it comes to virtual reality experiences, if you want to tailor make something for a certain person, you can do that, and then just send him the executable, and he or she can put on the HMD and just experience exactly what you designed for them, and they don't have to cope with all the settings and maybe worst case mess something up, which is spoiling the experience for them. So it's a great way, and we wanted to increase the amount of people that are involved in the visual communication and decision-making process. So this is running without a license. So as long, which is important for this feature versus the streaming that we're going to talk about, as long as this person that you're sharing the content with has hardware that is capable of running Fred, this is a great way to share data. It's also secure, so it's an executable, but data cannot be extracted, so nobody can like extract the data. We make sure that it expires after a certain amount of time, so it's not lying around forever, or and you can obviously protect it with a password, so to make sure that only the people that should open it can open it. And as I said, the data is packed inside of this executable, and there's no way to get it or extract it from it. So yeah, it's a great way to share data and keeping the full control while leveraging the Fred quality of the Fred render engine. So I think that's a great thing. Also, not only for stakeholder collaboration, but also if you're working with suppliers, for example. Basically, everybody you want to share high visual or high quality interactive rendering experiences with. Also, if you go to a fair, for example, and prepare, or exhibition and prepare a VR experience that you want to run there, would be also a good use case for Fredco. Something similar in terms of how it helps to collaborate, but different technology obviously, is Fred streaming, also newly integrated in 2021. The Fred streaming, so we're basically streaming whatever is in the Fred viewport to a web browser. Works on any device, obviously, and this is the big difference, right? With streaming, the images are rendered, or the scene is rendered somewhere on a server, and then it's just streamed to the end device, whereas Fredco has to run on the end device, so you need to have the performance. Yeah, as you already see, I think it's self-explaining, right? So you can have full control via tablet in this case. We have two ways to use it. You can either use a pure stream and integrate that maybe in your own system. You could use it as a driver or an engine for configurator type applications. But we also deliver a out-of-the-box streaming app, which has, from our point of view, the basic controls. So you can change variants automatically and render modes, render quality. So we provide an app out of the box that has a certain set of functionality that you can use. Yeah, and as I said, easy to integrate and easy to use, obviously. The cool thing here is you might have seen that in the video when we just passed the spot where you can also join. I'm going to talk about that on the next slide. A collaboration session via mobile now. So via a mobile device that gets a stream from a, I don't know, server or a workstation somewhere, you can join a collaboration session, and some people are in VR. But yeah, we're going to talk about that on the next slide. So yeah, I think this is a great thing. Again, if you didn't have the chance to check it out yet, I would encourage you to do so. Fredco as well as Fred streaming are new, very exciting things that we added to Fred. As you can see here, you can even stream Fred inside Fred, which is, I don't know, kind of Inception-like. In this case, you see there's a person in virtual reality and a mobile user joining from a spectator point of view. But yeah, I think the big topic today is remote collaboration, and that's why I wanted to point something out before we go into that topic. A lot of people, a lot of Fred users maybe on the call know what Red VR collaboration is, because we communicate it in that way, right? This is called Red VR collaboration, but actually it's not. It's Fred collaboration. So we have a collaboration service in Fred that allows you to collaborate whatever device you're using. And I think that's something that I want to make sure that everybody understands today, that it's not just about VR collaboration. So you can connect locally or remotely, use a mixed set of output devices, as I already said. And I'm going to give some examples here. Those can be adapted to the persona. So again, the stakeholder collaboration that we were talking about, maybe a mobile device is more appropriate for a decision maker to join a call. Somebody else rather wants to be in virtual reality in that call. Yeah, and we have a inbuilt 3D audio communication service as well. So you hear from which direction somebody's talking, and you can just easily communicate via voice. How does it look or work? So the most basic type of collaboration is to connect just two machines. And you can do that without having to set up a server or using the service. So one of the two stations or workstations in this case will be the host of the session, but this is happening automatically. The person who opens it will be the host, and then you connect based on the same BPV file, and then you can basically connect any type of device if you like, or just stick with a one-to-one workstation collaboration scenario, which is a great way to collaborate as well. But yeah, there's more options to it, and obviously you can use that on both sides. So this is direct collaboration, but when we're talking about remote collaboration, especially around global collaboration, sometimes it makes more sense to have a server somewhere. So either it's a workstation that's dedicated for being this communication hub for the collaboration session, or it is part of a server, like a data center that's on-prem, or it could be an AWS cloud or whatever cloud service you prefer. You can just put up a Fred a service there. Just one thing that I want to point out as well is you don't need a Fred license for this server. So there's no, it just needs the service. It doesn't need a Fred Pro license or whatever. So the server is, let's say, free to use, no additional charge. But yeah, and then you can connect to this with different devices. And that's, as I said, this is something that I really want to bring across today, because I think a lot of people are still not leveraging that good enough, or not aware of how far you can go with that. So either you can connect an XR device via a workstation, obviously only the device, an XR device or a workstation, we already saw that, and collaborate with that. You could also connect a mobile device and collaborate with that one. And this needs to be driven, as I already said, from some kind of computation hardware, right? So it could be a workstation that's somewhere that streams the image to this mobile device, or it could be a cloud server unit that computes the image and sends it to the mobile device. From a product point of view, you could either use Fred Professional or Fred Core, which was integrated or introduced in 2021 as well, a new product, which both are able to stream content to end devices. And something that I want to point out today as well, which our colleagues in the VR Center showed a lot already to customers, is you can also connect the power wall. Why am I saying that? Because this is really, like, if you think about this holistic review, collaboration review, this is something that adds a new layer to it. So you could, of course, the upper three might rather run in OpenGL because you, I don't know, need the performance, you want to have a quick performance. The workstation might work with ray tracing, because it might have some good graphic cards or CPU as well. But, and that's very interesting, you could also connect a Powerwall or bigger review environment or technology to the collaboration session, and then connect render nodes of Fredco for computation in the background, and really use real-time ray tracing from a spectator point of view, viewing other people being in virtual reality. And as I said, this is adding all the ray tracing capabilities to the design review, not for the guys in virtual reality yet, but for the people that are in front of a Powerwall. And I think this is a great mixture, because most of the time there are some people that are in VR, but also others that are in, not in virtual reality. And you can add many devices to it, because the data that we're actually exchanging is just positional data and things like that. So some of our customers are regularly doing design reviews with 30 participants in a bigger space then, obviously. But yeah, and we will continue to integrate everything, let's say, seamlessly into this collaboration service. So whatever new device is going to be added to Red will work with that. So we were going to make sure that that's something that we are expanding on. And now just a last short video before I hand over to Phil again, which is from our colleagues from the VR Center in Munich, showing some of the cool stuff they do with customization, virtual reality. All of that could be collaborative. You can see with reflections in this case. Again, talking about this third-person view with all the ray tracing benefits. Yeah. And with a mobile device in this case, and this is the VR Center in Munich. So yeah, just some inspiration for you to expand on, if you're using Red Collaboration already, expand on how you use it and how you leverage it, especially in these challenging times where you need to like stay connected and collaborating. Cool. With that being said, that's it for me. So back over to Phil again.
Great, thanks, Lucas. Well, we seem to have rattled through those. Let me just put my camera on. Seem to have rattled through those slides very quickly, everyone. Running a little bit out of time, so I'll just skip through the Alias part very quickly, and just I really want to touch on two key themes before we get to some Q&A. One is what we have in all our products, which is a cloud-based approach to sharing data. We call it shared views, and it allows us to basically export a file, save a file up to the cloud, collaborate remotely or with teams together on it, mark it up, look at it on a I don't want to see myself there, on a browser as we shared before, but also do all sorts of annotations and share ideas and share models. What we can also do is we can also have we also have something called Autodesk Drive, which is a far more database-driven approach, where we can actually upload, share, reference the data, actually open the data in the app, actually have a central model that everyone can load up to or save up to. In the latest version of Red, the Red assemblies that were mentioned, they're supported in the Drive structure as well. So we can really have this collaborative working remotely with a Red assembly session in the cloud, populated, driven by Autodesk Drive, and shared views moving forward. And it's all synchronized, so it's all in real time. For those of you who maybe want more information, we have a series of deep dives. I skipped through Reference Manager for Alias, which allows us to look at the assembly concept, how we can work together remotely, cross-geo, cross-departments inside of Alias. Barry goes through a very, very good tutorial on this. I'm sure you have to set up and work on this. You can access it from the YouTube site or from our design blog website. The link is down there. And it really just, sort of behoves me to end saying this is really what we're about from an agile design studio perspective. Alias, Red, Shotgun, working together, whether it be on-premise or on cloud or collaboratively. And one of the things that I've been involved in for the past 3 months in this working from home initiative, really and impressed with, is how quickly our media and entertainment customers moved from an on-premise working environment to a virtual environment working from home via and using Shotgun. It was, as Brandon said, it just allowed connections to remain consistent and intact, and they just switched overnight from working in the studio to working at home, and it was really impressive and got me thinking. You add a layer of what Lucas said from streaming and Fredco on top of that, and you have a really neat suite of tools which allow you to stay productive, perhaps even more productive, working from home as opposed to working in an office. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you found it useful and enjoyable. The session is being recorded. We have got a few questions. We'll obviously take more questions offline if we want to. Our Car Design U colleagues will field them to us. But for now, if we have any small questions and answers, we'll be more than happy to answer them. Our email contacts are there, by the way, should you need more information.
Hi guys. Yeah, thank you so much. That was a really interesting presentation, guys. So thanks for delivering that. It was really great. Let's just squeeze in a couple of questions. As Phil noted, we'll send any that we don't get to around the Autodesk team and hopefully get the answers back to you. We've had a lot of questions in, so I'll just skip through one or two. So the first one I think is good for you, Brandon. And it asks, some of our collaborators use tools outside the Autodesk universe, such as Trimble, SketchUp, or FreeCAD. Is there a use for Shotgun in those scenarios?
Yeah, that's a super common question. I think there always is when you're wanting to bring your whole production together, and that's why one of the kind of core value props for Shotgun when they first built it was enabling openness, open API, be able to connect and add different tools kind of into Shotgun or connect them to Shotgun in some way, shape, or form. Because if you're using things like, did you say Sketchfab? Like some of those kind of tools can easily be linked to Shotgun in a certain context. But yeah, it's hard to go into a very specific circumstance, but yes, definitely there's a lot of opportunities for those.
Okay, perfect. And this one is for both of you, Lucas and Brandon. And I think, Lucas, you touched on it a little bit before, but what platforms can Shotgun and VRED work on? It seems that they might be too powerful to run inside a web browser. And also, could you address whether they work on mobile too?
Okay, so what hardware configuration you need? So VRED is quite demanding. I think Shotgun has a better answer here. So for VRED, you need depending on what you do, either a good CPU or a good GPU or both. Best case, it's not running on mobile natively. That's why you stream. So whenever the hardware is not good enough, you can compute it somewhere and stream it over to the lightweight device, I'd say. There are minimum requirements on the web page. So if there's like hardware questions, just go to the VRED web page and there's a minimum requirement list. It's tough to like identify that, like or to name the lowest hardware. So yeah, I would just recommend to go to the page. But Brandon was for Shotgun as well, I think.
Yeah, so Shotgun's essentially a web server, right? So if you sign up for a cloud site, we host all the infrastructure and manage all of the scaling for it. Expect, everyone in your design studio is going to be accessing it. So if you're a studio of 50 people, all 50 will be on there. If you're a studio of 500, all 500 may be accessing it some point during the day and maybe at the same time. So if you're using our cloud infrastructure, we manage that for you. There should be no concerns. If you are managing it yourself, owning your own Shotgun web server, then that obviously is going to take a lot more power and effort. So we do have specs and recommended specs on what hardware would look like, but you're looking at a pretty robust server that you would need internally. And this is something that we can talk about kind of offline if somebody's actually interested in using it. But yeah, you need pretty powerful server if you're going to have 500 concurrent users hitting a web page. So, and yeah, sometimes the API too. There's sometimes be many API calls that can allow a lot of traffic in your network.
Okay, fab. Just to wrap up then, guys, say there's an OEM out there with a big design studio or several design studios across the world, as many do, and they're trying to figure out a way of working more efficiently and collaborating with their colleagues all over the world. They're looking at Autodesk software. What would you guys say to them?
Maybe I'll start with that one, just because Shotgun being really the main collaboration tool is just look at what your main challenges are. Like when it comes to collaboration, what is it that really slows you down or inhibits you from being more successful, and what is that measure of success? That'll be the first thing. And then looking at Autodesk tools, I always think it's also just a mindset, but you can leverage all of our tools together extremely well to have this distributed and collaborative workflow. So using all the red technology, again, Lucas shared things like streaming, all the capabilities in that, and all the functionality we have with Alias. Also, working with the integration with Shotgun means that you can connect the whole studio together. You can have your creative reviews happen inside of Shotgun, or at least captured in Shotgun. You can have all the schedules created in Shotgun, and that people don't need to be able to see the person that they sit beside, because they don't sit beside anymore if they're working around the world. But they have this kind of space now inside of Shotgun to see what's happening, what their teams are working on, what their colleagues are working on, which is a much more visual way than other types of systems. If you were to use just the standard Excel or even the standard PDM systems that many of our customers are used to, is not so visually friendly and not so easy to kind of collaborate and coordinate on. So really starting with the main challenges and look at our products from an overarching perspective of what all their strengths are, because we're really trying to focus on that ourselves, and we're always open for feedback, but how those can all fit into the picture for you is unique to each studio, but can be very similar from studio to studio. So.
And I'll just echo Mike Brandon's point there, and this is something that's really impressed me these past few months. It is about Shotgun and the apps that plug into it, whether it be Maya, 3ds, SketchUp, Red, Alias, was just how, well, two things really, just how quickly our media and entertainment colleagues turn the switch from working on premise physically, bam, working from home the following day, minimal disruption. Absolutely minimal disruption, because it was all geared up to do that, first of all. And secondly, as Brandon rightly points out, the UI, the attractive nature of the interface, these guys were already used to using it. They understood how to collaborate virtually because it was part of the day-to-day challenge. So working from home to them wasn't really a mind shift, but also the fact that the tools worked in exactly the same way from home as they did in the office, and they could switch it like that, meant they were just productive. 7 o'clock following morning, when you were told to work from home, cracked on, project just carried on. So that really blew me away in these past few months, just to see how they did it. And we're taking lessons from that, and as Brandon says, we're looking to bake all that stuff into our Autodesk Automotive and Industrial Design products, so we can take those learnings from M&E, Media Entertainment, and apply them to our product and industrial design customers.
Okay, perfect. Thank you so much, guys, for your time today. Thanks, Lucas, Brandon, and Phil. Brilliant presentation. Really appreciate that. And thanks for everyone for listening in. Hope it was useful. We've got lots more live streams and webinars happening over the next few weeks at cardesignnews.com. So please head over there to check out what's happening. Just last point as well, this has been recorded, so it'll be uploaded on our website for your colleagues, or if you want to go back into any bits afterwards, feel free to do so. So yeah, just a big thanks from me, guys, and take care.
Great. Thanks, everyone. Take care. Bye-bye now.
Thanks, everybody.